I just realized it.
Welcome back to La La Land on CRN Digital Talk. I am Brett Chapin. That is James Mooney over there.
Hi, everyone.
We're talking with two guests today. First, we are going to be talking to publicist Ken Werther, and after that, we're going to be talking to Mr. Michael Noah Levine, creative artist. And if you have any questions for either one of them, make sure you give us a call at 1-800-336-2225. 1-800-336-2225. And actually, before we even get started, I should mention that I just got a call from Daisy Egan, and you got a text from her.
I did, yeah.
Told us.
Do you want the number?
I have it here.
Oh, you do?
You guys, Daisy's performing tomorrow night at Kritzerland over at the Federal in North Hollywood. And Michael Sterling, who produces that, has put a deal out for our listeners. The first 10 listeners that call are going to get in for free.
Whoa.
Not bad, huh?
Right? That's good.
That's pretty cool.
Call 818-754-8700, 818-754-8700. Mention La La Land, and the first 10 listeners.
I know, I was just on the phone with them.
Will get in for free.
And if you've never seen Daisy perform, you need to run.
Run, yes. Call now.
Yeah, she's awesome. That's why she's not here today. She's actually at a rehearsal for them. And she's got a show tomorrow night, so we're looking forward to it.
Cool.
Yeah. But getting to our guests today, Mr. Ken Werther. Ken is a publicist, Los Angeles theater publicist. He does publicity for a lot of other things as well. And this is his second appearance on the show.
Yay.
Thank you so much for joining us. And Ken, I would also kind of consider a producer on that show because he was very generous with supporting our last Indiegogo account.
Which you should all immediately go to that address that Brett just gave and give us money.
Oh, you must mean Indiegogo.com/La La Land Talk Season 2.
That's the one.
Nice.
That's the
Plugs.
one.
While we're talking about it.
Shameless. We are
See,
shameless.
this is why he's the publicist.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Ken.
Absolutely.
But let's talk about you. How did you first kind of get involved in being a publicist for those listeners that didn't hear you on your last visit?
Well, I grew up in Boston. I always knew that I wanted to be in the show business, but I didn't know what I wanted to be. I wasn't like all my friends who either wanted to be a director or a writer or an actor or, whatever it was. And then I won't bore you with all the, stupid details, but publicity kind of found me. It wasn't something I set out to do, believe it or not. And it turned out I was good at it. And I told people, right after I got to LA, I was working in a television production publicity office, and I told people that I wanted to work in the theater, and they all looked at me like I had two heads. They were like, why did you come to Los Angeles if you want to work in the theater? And
why don't you want to be in New York?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I said, well, there's this issue of snow and ice and freezing cold weather, which I had grown up in and really didn't want anymore.
Yeah.
And I was really lucky. When I got here, the smaller theater boom was just starting. And within 2 years, I was working in the theater, and not even in a small one. The very first thing I worked on in L.A. on the stage was the first L.A. production. It wasn't a national tour. It was mounted specifically for L.A. of the 1980 production of 42nd Street, which played in L.A. for a year.
Awesome.
And suddenly there I was working on a Broadway musical when everybody laughed at me. I was like, ha ha.
You proved them wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just sort of gone from there.
Now, do you feel that LA can sustain a theater community?
Absolutely.
Good question.
So why don't we have like long-term shows that live here?
Well, I feel like
I'd go. I go all the time.
Me too. Obviously, I guess.
Yeah.
But I sort of
Well, you get
whether
paid
I
to be
want,
there.
nowadays people ask me to go to the theater, and I say, "Oh, please don't make me." It's my feeling that after all my years of doing this is that the main difference between Los Angeles and New York is geographical. It's the way it's the way the landscape is laid out. When you're in New York City, at 7:45 at night, if you live on 94th Street, you can hop on a subway
Yeah.
and in 5 minutes be in Times Square,
Yeah.
get a ticket, and go to see a show.
Right.
If you're sitting in your living room at 7:45 in Los Angeles and you decide, ooh, it's Friday or it's Saturday or it's any night, and you
Yeah.
decide you want to go to the theater, you can't do that.
So it's too much of an event.
It's too much of a thing.
Yeah,
You've
yeah.
got to get the tickets. You've got to get in the car. You have to, if you're not single like me and you're dealing with kids, you have to get a babysitter and you
have to park.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to pay to park. You have to pay
Yeah.
to eat. And so my feeling has always been that if people who aren't regular theater goers like us if you could get them into the theater and they don't have a good time, they're never coming back.
Mm-hmm.
That's my theory, because it's cost them a lot of money to sit there and go, I'd rather be watching TNT.
Well, obviously, I mean, then we can't change the geography of LA. So what can we do in LA to improve
To
upon
make
that,
it
do you
easier
think?
for people to get there?
Yeah.
Well, I think there's more of a theater-going audience in Los Angeles than most people believe. I think that, the LA Times hosted a forum, if you will, almost a year ago during the Theater Communications Group annual conference, which was held in LA. So the LA Times hosted this forum on the name of the seminar, if you will, was "Is LA a theater town?"
Mm-hmm.
That is a question that I am so sick of hearing personally. And it was interesting because they had various sort of theater muckies. They had Sheldon Epps from the Pasadena Playhouse, Michael Ritchie from Center Theater Group. They had Tim Robbins representing the Actors Gang, et cetera, et cetera. And so the moderator opened the conversation by asking, so what do we think? Is LA a theater town? And Sheldon Epps became my hero of the year when he picked up the microphone to answer and said, well, I think the first thing we need to do is stop asking that question.
So what
That's
can
a
we
good
do
answer,
then?
yeah.
What I mean, if
Because
LA is a theater town,
I don't know that you have to be identified as a theater town to make good theater and get people to come see it. See, I have another little theory that's hardly scientific, and that is that if you give people something they want to see, they'll come.
Right.
So
That's really the difficulty, is that there's so much stuff out there and so much stuff that isn't very good
Right.
that it's hard to get people in to see the good stuff. Not that, listen
Unless
out
it's
there,
like a
don't,
Lion King or something that
Well,
has
right.
a proven record, people won't go to it.
Well, that's true. I think the larger theaters in town, the Pantages, the Omnis, and that kind of thing, that's kind of a different audience. I think largely it's an older audience than what you see at the 99-seat and smaller
Yeah.
houses. But at the same time, I sort of feel like, well, just to give you another example, more to what you're saying is when Jersey Boys played at the Amundsen in 2007, it played for 4 months, and the tickets were $110. And the thing was completely sold out for 4
Yeah.
months. Again, give people something they want to see.
Want to see and they'll come. Yeah.
So you're saying what we can do to improve the quality of theater in LA or get more butts in seats is to just improve the quality of theater?
Well, yeah, I guess I kind of am saying that. I'll probably be assassinated as soon as I leave the studio. But
It makes sense. You gotta have a quality product for people to come out.
exactly right.
Guys, make sure you give us a call at 1-800-336-2225. That's 1-800-336-2225. Talk to the great publicist, Mr. Ken Werther, and find out information about him at kenwerther.com. That's WERTHER. And we'll be back on La La Land with Brett and James on CRN Digital Talk.